For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what is the significance of the recent Concourt judgment on the removal of Advocate Shaun Abrahams as the head of the NDPP?
What is interesting is the court didn't make a finding about the competence of Abrahams. So even if we believe that Abrahams was selective in his prosecution, didn't act in good faith, all of these things, the court didn't make a finding on that. What the court found is that if the process of his becoming Director of Public Prosecutions was flawed constitutionally, then he was not legally in the position. And what they found is that because the way in which Nkosana had vacated the post was tainted by a sort of a bribe, whoever took his place entered in an irregular situation. Now, it appears from the findings of the court that they repeatedly tried to get rid of Nkosana. First, they had an inquiry into him. Secondly, they offered him money, and he refused. Eventually, they sent him an offer with the space left open for how much money he could get. And then he actually agreed to take this big amount of money, 15 million or whatever it was. So what the court has done is it has tried to cleanse the office of the head of the prosecuting system of any taint of irregularity, dishonesty, bribery, all of these things. And someone was saying, now that that has happened, Cyril Ramaphosa could, in theory, appoint Abrahams if he wanted to, because there hasn't been a finding against Abrahams. That may be so. I don't know. But this is part of a history where no single director since 1994 has served the full 10 years term of his office, because there's been a lot of interference in the powers of the directors of public prosecutions. So this is a very important judgment, because what they are saying to the public is we are the judiciary who are supposed to be independent, but the public prosecutor is also supposed to be independent and conduct his or her work professionally. So Abrahams came in through a flawed process, so he should go.
So what do you make of the fact that now Nkosana has to pay back the money?
Well, the money he got was part of the unconstitutional action in removing him and putting Abrahams there, so he must pay back the money. I mean, it's a form of fraud or bribery. Yeah.
And what should we now expect from the newly appointed acting head of the NDPP, Dr. Silas Ramaite?
Well, he only has 90 days unless he's permanently appointed, or less than 90 days. So there's not much that he can do in that period, but I would be very sure that he will not put a foot wrong, that he will be very careful to observe the rules and to carry out his functions in a regularized manner and not open himself for any form of complaint. 3 months is not a long time with prosecuting authorities.
And how can we avoid the head of the NPP becoming a pawn of any president in future?
Some people say, you know, if you do it through the parliamentary process and not the president appointing, that they will avert it. But we've seen how the public protector was appointed through the parliamentary process. And in fact, the EFF was one of the strongest in support of her, along with the ANC. And it appears that some of the activities that on which she's made findings, for example, the bank issue, the loan to what used to be Concourt, that she consulted the president before making her decision, and she didn't reveal this in her report. And I think she consulted security, and she has people from the security services in her office. So it's very hard to find a way of appointing people that can safeguard you in the future. What we have to keep up is the situation of the public's monitoring of what is happening in these things.
And now DA's advocate Glenys Breitenbach has come out and said that Ramaphosa's choice of Dr. Ramaite, it doesn't bode well for restoring the independence of the NPA. What is your comment on that?
I didn't see that comment, but he's there for 3 months. He had a choice between there are four deputy directors. One of them is Jiba, who is almost on the point of suspension unless she can convince Ramaphosa otherwise. And I don't know. I know Willie Hofmeyr, but I don't know the considerations. But there's not a lot that can be done in 3 months. As I said, whoever is there is going to be under the spotlight. So what you say Glenys Breitenbach said is a bit exaggerated in my view.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about the recent Concourt decision on former National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shaun Abrahams.